case, telling the court in no uncertain terms why Alec Murdaugh killed his wife and son. Our investigative reporter Ann Emerson tells us what the state believes was the embattled former lawyer's motive in the killings. Ann?
Well, Tessa, in a detailed motion, state prosecutors say Alec Murdaugh killed his wife and son to turn the attention away from his deep financial troubles.
And so it paints a very dark picture of the defendant as to his motivation. The state alleges he murdered his wife and his son to take attention away, in effect, from his financial crimes.
According to state prosecutors, the killings line up with the revelations that he allegedly stole millions of dollars over a 15-year period. Overwhelmed with debt and no way to dig himself out, the state says Murdaugh shot and killed his wife Maggie and son Paul. The state says it was a ploy to buy himself a little time. The murders were also just 3 days before a hearing in that fatal boat crash lawsuit, which would reveal his disastrous financial situation. The state says this tactic was successful for a little while.
Everyone became really sympathetic to him, and the inquiries just simply stopped. The hearing was canceled in civil court. The law firm didn't question him anymore about the alleged missing money. And so for, I think the time frame went from June to September. There was just no asking him because everyone felt really sorry for him. So as twisted as it might sound, it really, in a way, was a very effective plan. It just worked.
But the state says when Murdaugh was confronted again by his law firm 3 months later, he pulled another stunt, that botched suicide attempt on the side of the road.
You got a pattern within a pattern. You've got the motive evidence, which is basically pattern evidence to show the motivation for the murder, that these financial crimes were committed over a long period of time. He wanted to hide them.
Well, and the defense is expected to come out swinging. They'll argue Murdaugh's alleged financial crime should not be admissible as a motive for another crime. It'll be up to the judge to allow them as evidence of his motive.
Now, Ann, all of this comes on the eve of a hearing in the Murdaugh case. That's happening tomorrow in Colleton County. You're going to be there, of course. Now, you're also digging into some crucial evidence and getting some expert insight.
That's right, Tessa. Right now, Murdaugh's defense team wants the shirt Alec Murdaugh wore the night his wife and son were killed last year to be thrown out of court as physical evidence in the murders. According to the state, there is evidence of high-velocity blood spatter on the shirt, and that would mean Murdaugh was the shooter. However, the defense argues in a pretrial motion that Murdaugh's shirt was destroyed by the state's crime scene lab when it was tested, and the defense can't do an independent analysis, which is afforded to them under the law. I want to see Dr. Robert Bennett. He's a forensic scientist who is often called to testify about crime scene evidence. Dr. Bennett had concerns about the way SLED processed the shirt. He showed me how SLED could have cut one small section of the shirt, sprayed it with chemicals, saved the rest for the defense, rather than spoiling the whole shirt. But he's also concerned about the chemical called LCV used in the blood spatter test. Now, bear with me, Tessa, for a little science here. Leucocrystal violet is used to identify blood stains and patterns of blood stains that are not visible. But he says it's hard for LCV to differentiate blood from gunshot residue because it's testing for the same element in both, called antimony.
So the spots that were present, is it blood or is it gunshot residue?
Comes up the same?
Comes up the same.
Well, Tessa, Bennett says that gunshot residue could be from a time other than the murders. Even the shirt was destroyed in the chemical test. It will once again be up to the judge on whether this physical evidence will be allowed at trial in January.
Fascinating. Science is. All right, Ann, thank you. And so many twists and turns in this case. Of course, you can catch up on it all thanks to Ann and our Unsolved South Carolina investigative team. You can listen to 18 episodes of the award-winning podcast, The Murdaugh Murders, Money and Mystery. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.